It was a quiet evening in the countryside. The sky was turning orange, and birds were flying home. Jay, a simple young man in his 20s, was walking through the field near his small wooden house. He liked the silence, the wind, and the peace of nature, but that peace was about to break. Suddenly, a loud sound tore through the sky. Boom! Jay looked up. A burning object was falling from the sky, fast and bright like a meteor. It crashed into the forest nearby, shaking the ground. Birds flew away in fear. Trees caught fire. The sky turned dark for a moment. Jay's heart started racing. "What the hell was that?" he whispered. Without thinking, he grabbed a flashlight and ran toward the crash. As he reached the forest, the smoke burned his eyes. The air smelled like metal and fire. He pushed through broken trees and burning branches until he saw a large crater in the ground. Inside it was not a rock. It was a woman. She was lying on the ground, half buried in dirt and smoke. Her body was covered in a strange silver suit, torn and burned. Her skin had a slight glow, and her hair floated like it was in water. Jay froze. She was beautiful, but not human. Not completely. He stepped closer slowly. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked. She opened her eyes. They were glowing blue. Her lips trembled. She tried to sit up, but pain hit her hard. She gasped and collapsed again. Jay knelt beside her. "I can help you. Don't move too much." She looked at him with shame in her eyes. She reached for his arm, fingers cold and shaking. Then she whispered something, her voice broken and soft. "Make me your personal slave, human." Jay blinked, confused. "What? I have no honor left," she said, almost crying. "I am nothing now." Jay didn't understand. Who was she? Why did she talk like that? Why would someone so powerful beg like this? She suddenly coughed hard. A strange blue liquid came from her mouth. Blood? Jay didn't wait. He lifted her in his arms. She was heavy but weak. Her body glowed softly, and her skin felt cold like ice. "I need to get you out of here," he said. "You need help." As he carried her out of the crater, he noticed something strange glowing on her chest. A symbol, like a brand. It was shaped like a triangle with a flame inside. It pulsed with red light. "What is that?" he muttered. She heard him and whispered again, her voice almost gone. "Shame mark, exile." Then she passed out. Jay carried her back to his house. His hands were shaking. He had no idea who she was or what kind of danger she brought. But something in her voice, the pain, the way she looked at him, it felt real. It felt human. He laid her on the bed, wrapped her in a blanket, and looked at her face. Who was this woman? Where did she come from? And why did she beg to be a slave? Jay stared out the window. In the dark sky, he saw a faint light, a flash, high above the clouds, like something was watching, something, or someone. The night was quiet again, but Jay's mind was loud. Inside his small wooden house, the strange woman still lay on the bed, breathing slowly. Her silver suit was burned. Her skin shimmered like moonlight. Her glowing eyes were now closed. Jay sat beside her, trying to make sense of everything. She had fallen from the sky like a comet. She had begged him to make her his slave, and now she was here, sleeping in his room like a broken angel from another world. He touched her forehead with a wet cloth. Her skin was cold, but not like a dead person, more like ice that was still alive. Suddenly, her eyes opened. Jay jumped back. She stared at the ceiling for a moment, like she didn't know where she was. Then she looked at him. Her eyes were brighter than before, glowing blue, almost electric. "You're awake," Jay said quietly. She tried to sit up but held her side and winced. "Where is this?" "My house," Jay replied. "You crashed near the forest. I brought you here." Her eyes scanned the room, the wooden walls, the old clock, the photos, The books. This place is primitive, she said slowly. But safe. Jay raised an eyebrow. Who are you? She looked away, ashamed. My name is Uriah, she said. Former commander of the Vayari Empire. Jay blinked. Empire? What empire? She didn't answer. Instead, she reached for her chest. The glowing red mark was still there. She covered it with her hand, like she didn't want him to see. You shouldn't have helped me, she whispered. Why not? I'm not like you. I'm not from this planet. I'm a soldier, a fugitive, a failure. Jay sat down again. You almost died. I couldn't just leave you. Uriah looked at him with confusion. Why would a human risk himself for someone like me? Jay shrugged. Because that's what people do here. She tilted her head. That is rare. Jay noticed something else now. Her wounds, they were healing fast. Not like a normal human. Her skin was knitting itself together, glowing faintly as it did. How are you doing that? He asked. She looked down at her arm. Vayari biology. Our cells repair faster than yours. But I am still weak. I lost my ship, my weapons, my honor. Jay asked, why did you crash here? She looked at him, her voice shaking. I was hunted. My own people turned on me. They marked me as a traitor and sent me to die alone in deep space. My ship lost control. And I fell into your planet's gravity. Jay leaned forward. So, you're telling me you're some kind of alien warrior? She nodded. Not anymore. Jay laughed nervously. Okay, sure. Why not? Uriah stood slowly. Her legs were shaking, but she didn't fall. She looked at her reflection in a glass photo frame and flinched. I don't belong here, she said. Your world is soft, clean. Mine was full of war and orders. Jay said, well, maybe you needed a soft place to fall. She stared at him, surprised by the words. Then, a sharp beep echoed through the room. Jay looked around. What was that? Uriah's eyes went wide. No, it can't be. She lifted her wrist and saw a tiny red light flashing under her skin. They activated the beacon, she said. They're tracking me. Who's tracking you? She looked up, her face pale. The ones who want me dead. Jay stood up. Are they coming here? She nodded slowly. If they find me with you, they will kill you. No questions, no mercy. Jay swallowed hard. What do we do? She looked at him, her voice calm but heavy. You run. You forget you ever saw me. Jay didn't move. I'm not running. Uriah's eyes widened. Why? Because, he said. You asked for help. You begged for it. I gave it. I'm not going to throw you away now. A silence passed between them. Uriah looked down, her hands trembling. You don't understand what I am. I was trained to conquer, not to be saved. Jay walked over and put a hand on her shoulder. Maybe it's time someone showed you something different. Outside, in the night sky, a faint shadow moved, a black ship, invisible to satellites, but watching, waiting. The hunt had begun. For 2 days, Uriah didn't speak much. She stayed in Jay's house, recovering in silence. Sometimes she stared out the window for hours, her glowing eyes full of fear and memory. Jay gave her space. He didn't ask questions. But deep inside, he felt the pressure building. Something was coming. And it wasn't just in his mind. That morning, Jay walked into the small town nearby to buy supplies. Milk, bread, medicine. He tried to act normal, like nothing strange had happened. But the town felt different. Too quiet, too still. A woman at the store didn't smile today. The old man at the gas station stared at the sky. A dog barked at nothing. People walked fast, eyes down. Jay felt it in his bones. Something was wrong. Meanwhile, back at the house, Uriah's eyes suddenly snapped open. She stood up quickly, breathing hard. They're here, she whispered. Her fingers pressed into her wrist. A small silver circle appeared in her palm. She stared at it. 3 red dots were moving toward the house. Hunters. Her voice trembled. In town, Jay paid for his groceries and turned to leave. That's when he saw the man. Tall, clean suit, black sunglasses, calm smile. He was standing completely still. Watching Jay. Jay looked away and walked faster. Another man appeared at the corner. Same kind of suit, same calm smile. Too calm. Jay's chest tightened. Xeno was right, he thought. They found her, and now they found me. He dropped the groceries and ran. At the house, Xeno moved fast. She pulled back the floorboard under Jay's bed and took out a small device, shaped like a crystal. If I use this, she whispered, they'll know I still have power. But I have no choice. She clicked it. The walls around her shimmered for a second, like a shield was activating. Then she collapsed to her knees. The device had drained her again. Jay reached the edge of the forest, panting. Behind him, the 2 men walked calmly, not running, but somehow, always getting closer. One of them raised a hand. Jay felt a sudden pressure in his head, like his brain was being squeezed out. He screamed and fell. A voice entered his mind, cold, robotic. Give us the exile, or suffer. Then the pain stopped. Jay got up and ran harder. He reached the house and slammed the door shut. They're here. 2 of them. Xeno grabbed his hand. You saw them? Jay nodded. They were in town. They did something to my head. Xeno's face turned pale. They touched your mind. That means you're now tagged. Tagged? What does that mean? They can track your thoughts. They can see where you go. If they want, they can break your brain from the inside. Jay stepped back, heart pounding. What do we do now? Xeno stood slowly. Her legs were still weak, but her eyes were full of fire now. We fight. Jay blinked. Wait, fight them? With what? Xeno reached into the floor again and pulled out a long black rod. With one tap, it unfolded into a spear, glowing purple, humming with strange energy. Jay stared at it. What is that? My last command blade, she said. It listens to my mind, and now, yours too. Jay backed away. What? We are linked, she said. When I touched you on the first day, I bound a part of my mind to yours. That's why you felt the pain. That's why they can find you now, Jay whispered. So, we're connected, she nodded. And that makes you dangerous to them. You're not just a helper anymore, you're part of me. Outside the house, footsteps echoed. Slow, heavy. Jay looked through the window. Men were here, but they weren't men anymore. Their skin was turning gray. Their eyes glowed red. Their suits melted into black armor, and their arms became weapons. Bounty hunters, Xeno said softly. Shifters from the Vayari death unit. Jay felt like throwing up. What are they going to do? They will offer one choice, she said, and then they kill. The door knocked once. Then came a voice. Metallic, cold. Exile Xeno. You have 10 seconds to surrender, or we erase the structure. And the human. Jay looked at her. Xeno looked at the spear. Then she whispered, if I die, you die. Jay grabbed a kitchen knife. That's fair, he said. Let's not die today. Smoke filled the small house. The windows were cracked. The door was half broken. But Jay and Xeno were still alive. The bounty hunters were gone for now. Xeno sat on the floor, holding her side, breathing hard. Her command blade had saved them. Barely. Jay stood by the broken window, gripping the kitchen knife. His hands were shaking. Not from fear, but from something else. I felt them, he whispered. Xeno looked up, confused. Felt who? Jay turned toward her. The hunters, their thoughts. Like voices in my head. Xeno's face darkened. It has started. What has started? The bond, she said. It's growing. Jay dropped the knife. What did you do to me? Xeno looked away. I didn't plan this. When I touched you that first night, I was dying. I reached for anything alive. I didn't know our minds would link. Jay sat on the floor. Still breathing heavy. I'm not just hearing things, he said. I saw things too, memories, images. Xeno froze. What did you see? A city in fire. You, standing on a tall platform. Soldiers below you, and you gave the order. Xeno closed her eyes. That was my final command, before I was exiled. Jay stared at her. You destroyed that planet. Yes, why? Xeno's voice shook. Because I was ordered to, and because I obeyed. Millions died. I lost my honor. Then they turned on me anyway. Jay didn't speak for a moment. Then he asked softly, why did they betray you? Xeno opened her glowing eyes. Because I hesitated. I questioned a direct order. I asked, is there another way? That was enough to mark me as weak. A traitor, Jay whispered. But you're not weak. Xeno smiled sadly. No, but I became something worse. A thinker. A long silence followed. Then Jay clutched his head suddenly. Ah, he groaned, falling back. His mind filled with sharp flashes, not from Xeno's past, but something new. A blue star exploding. A symbol made of light. A sound like thunder and whisper at the same time. Xeno crawled over and touched his temple. You're not supposed to see that yet. Jay gasped. What was that? Something inside you is changing, she said. The mind link is not one way. Jay looked at her, sweating. What do you mean? She stared at him with a strange look. Some part of me is now inside you, but now I see a part of you is inside me too. Xeno stood slowly, still weak, but her voice stronger. I feel your thoughts, your memories, your kindness. It's like fire inside me. A fire I never knew. Jay blinked. You're feeling emotions? She nodded. Human emotions. They are loud, confusing, but powerful. Jay laughed a little. Welcome to being human. But the moment didn't last. Outside the house, the sky turned a deep red, as if the air itself had been scanned. Xeno looked up. They're back, and this time, they're not alone. Jay stood up. What now? Xeno turned to him, voice calm. There is one way out, but it's dangerous. I'm listening. She walked to him, her hand glowing with light. I can show you how to defend yourself, but I need full access to your mind. If you allow it, you'll see my truth, all of it. Jay hesitated. And if I say no, they'll kill us both, slowly. Jay gave a small nod. Do it. Xeno placed her palm against his forehead. Light burst through the room. Suddenly, Jay was inside her mind. He stood in an alien battlefield. Red skies, floating cities, giant machines. He saw Xeno as a child, trained by cold, glowing-eyed instructors. He saw her rise as a commander, her hands shaking the day she gave her first kill order. He saw her fall. And then, he saw himself, through her eyes, the night she crashed, the moment he helped her, the moment she whispered the words, "Make me your slave." But in her mind, she hadn't said them with shame. She had said them with hope, her last hope that someone, somewhere, would show her mercy. Jay stepped back from the memory, his heart full, his mind spinning. Then, darkness. Jay opened his eyes. He was back in the house. Xeno was on the ground, unconscious, but something had changed. Jay looked at his hand. It glowed faint blue dot outside. The air hummed. The bounty hunters were back, but this time, Jay was ready. The wind had changed. It wasn't natural wind anymore. It hummed like it was being watched, like something huge was pressing against the sky. Jay stood in the doorway of the house, breathing slow. His fingers still glowed faint blue from the mind link. Xeno lay inside, unconscious, but stable. Her energy almost gone. In the sky above. The trees, clouds spun in a silent spiral. Jay whispered, "They're back." But this time, they weren't hiding. In the next town over, people screamed. Lights in the sky. Shadows on rooftops, phones dead. Cars frozen in place. A dark shape hovered above the highway, massive and silent. It looked like a ship, but moved like a living thing. Its surface shifted like liquid armor. Red lights blinked underneath it. Like eyes. Above Jay's house, the same kind of ship appeared. Slowly, no sound, not fast, not loud, just certain. Jay ran inside. "Xeno, wake up, we have a problem." She stirred, eyes half open. "The sky, it's breaking." Jay helped her up. "They're not here for you anymore. They're here for Earth." Xeno blinked. "They changed the protocol. They must think Earth is hiding a weapon." Jay stared. "What weapon?" She looked at him. "You." Outside, the first hunter dropped from the ship like a shadow. Its body twisted in midair, forming black armor around itself. Then another, and another. 3 of them now, surrounding the house. Jay's heart raced. Inside his mind, he heard a voice. Not from the hunters, from Xeno. "Let me guide you." One last time, she touched his arm. Her energy flowed into him, a flicker of silver light, gentle but sharp. His veins lit up. His mind cleared. Jay gasped. For a moment, he understood everything. Time, movement, energy, even gravity. It felt like it obeyed him, not the other way around. The first hunter struck. The house exploded as Jay and Xeno flew out the back. Jay rolled through the dirt, stood fast, and raised his hand. Just like in the memory, a pulse of light blasted from his palm, hitting the hunter square in the chest. It staggered but didn't fall. The second one attacked, claws like liquid metal. Jay dodged, almost on instinct. His eyes were glowing now, bright blue. Xeno used her last bit of strength to throw her command blade. It hit the third hunter, cutting its arm clean off, but the other 2 closed in. Jay raised both hands. He didn't know what he was doing, but it didn't matter. The ground around him cracked. The sky above rippled, and with a scream of pure focus, he released a wave of energy. Boom. All 3 hunters were blasted back into the trees. Xeno collapsed. Jay ran to her. "Stay with me." She smiled weakly. "Your mind. It's stronger than I thought." "Don't leave me now," Jay said, voice shaking. Xeno looked up. "This was never about me. You were the reason I survived." Above them, the sky turned gold. The giant ship cracked open like a shell. A second shape emerged, smaller, faster, and glowing red. Xeno's eyes widened. "The Queen's Herald," she whispered. "She's here." Jay stood, chest rising and falling. "The Vayari Queen?" Xeno nodded. "My mother. She doesn't come to finish wars, she comes to erase planets." Jay clenched his fists. "She's not erasing anything today." In town, chaos spread. People ran from buildings, cars shut down. Machines sparked. Animals screamed, but something else happened too. Some humans, like Jay, began to glow, small lights on their skin, electric pulses in their heads. They had been touched by Xeno's ship when it crashed. The mind link had spread. Back at the house, the skyship began charging its weapon. A red sphere of energy built up under its belly. Xeno pulled herself to her knees. "We have one chance." Jay helped her stand. "Tell me." She looked at him one last time. Together, as one mind. He nodded. They touched foreheads. And then they disappeared in a blink of blue light. Above the earth, in the heart of the ship, 2 figures appeared. Floating in light, Xeno and Jay, her blade in one hand, his light in the other. Together, they struck. The ship shook. Energy spiraled. A voice screamed in the alien language, and the weapon charging toward Earth exploded inward. The ship vanished in a burst of white light. Back on the ground, the sky cleared. Zariah and Jay reappeared in the field, near the house. Both breathing hard, still alive, but everything had changed. The world had gone quiet. After the sky ship vanished, there was no wind, no birds. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. Jay sat by the lake near his house. The water was still, like a mirror. His reflection looked different now, not just tired, but changed. Behind him, Ziria stood in silence. Her long silver hair swayed gently, but her eyes didn't glow anymore. Her skin looked dull. Her blade was gone. She had given everything to protect Earth. But Jay couldn't look at her. Not yet. She walked over. Slow. You haven't said anything in 2 hours. Jay didn't answer. He watched a leaf float on the lake. She sat beside him, careful not to touch. You're angry, she said. Jay whispered. No. Zariah looked at him. I'm scared. Jay turned his face toward her, voice low. Back on the ship. I saw something. A door inside your mind. You kept it locked. But when we fused, it opened. Zariah looked away. I saw what you did, before you crashed. She closed her eyes. You didn't just destroy that planet. Jay's voice cracked. You killed it. She stayed quiet for a long time, then almost too soft to hear. She said, yes. Jay stood up, pacing now. You didn't tell me you led a purge. You didn't say you vaporized a species, children, homes, cities. Zariah spoke carefully. It was my duty. I was raised in the Death Order. I followed the chain. I never questioned. Not once. And when you did, Jay said, they threw you away. Zariah nodded. I started hearing voices in my mind. Not commands, questions, whispers from deep inside me. I didn't know then. They were mine. Jay's eyes filled with tears. You came here broken. You begged me for help. You didn't tell me I was helping a war criminal. Zariah stood slowly. Her voice had no anger, only pain. I didn't hide it to lie. I hid it because I was still that person. And I hated that person. Jay looked away. Zariah stepped closer. You think I'm a monster? Jay didn't answer. You're right, she said. I was. Then she pulled something from her arm, a small black disc, the size of a coin. She held it out to Jay. This is my memory seed. It holds my full archive, every battle, every command, every death I caused. You can see it all. You can judge me. Jay stared at it. I don't want to see more, he said. I already saw enough. Zariah's hand trembled. I don't want to be forgiven. I want to be understood. Jay took the disc slowly, then looked into her eyes. They trained you to be a weapon, but something inside you broke through. He paused. Something human. She lowered her head. I don't deserve that word. Jay spoke gently. It's not something you deserve. It's something you earn. They stood there, silent, side by side. For the first time, there was no energy between them. No fire, no light, just truth. Suddenly the sky darkened again, but not from ships. This time. It was her. The queen. A face appeared in the sky, projected by some invisible source. It was massive, alien, terrible. Her eyes glowed like suns. Her skin was like silver marble, and she spoke in perfect English. Daughter, you've failed. Zariah stepped forward. I've changed. You were not made to change, the queen said. You were designed to obey. Jay stepped beside her. She's not yours anymore. The queen stared at him. And you are the reason she fell. Zariah replied, no, he's the reason I stood. The queen's eyes narrowed. Then you will both fall together. The image vanished. The ground shook. In the distance, a new shape entered Earth's orbit, 10 times bigger than the last one. It wasn't a warship. It was a world breaker. Zariah whispered, she's bringing the core. Jay asked. What's the core? Ziraya's voice trembled. It doesn't destroy planets. It rewrites them. Everything, turned into data. And then erased. Jay swallowed. She's going to erase Earth, Ziraya nodded. Unless we stop her. Jay looked at her again. And this time, he didn't see a killer. He saw a soldier who had survived her own past and chose to protect someone else's future. It didn't burn or fire weapons. It simply hummed, a low vibration that made birds fall from the sky and oceans shift ever so slightly. Jay stood on the rooftop of an abandoned hospital, Ziraya beside him. Below, cities were evacuating, satellites were falling. The Earth was silent. Watching. She's here, Jay whispered. Ziraya didn't move. She was staring at the sky, her face still, not afraid, not angry, but ready. Then the Queen's voice came, but not from the sky, from inside their minds. Come to me. Jay clutched his head. She's pulling us. Ziraya turned to him. Don't resist. If we fight her from the outside, we lose. But inside her mind, maybe there's still a crack. Jay grabbed her hand. And in an instant, they vanished. The mind realm stood in a space of mirrors and fire, a mental battlefield. The Queen's consciousness. It looked like a broken temple in the stars, a cathedral made of memories, pain, and power. The Queen appeared before them, but she wasn't a giant anymore. She was human-sized, beautiful, perfect, a mask of mercy. You disappoint me, daughter, she said. Ziraya stepped forward. I'm not your daughter anymore. The Queen circled Jay. And this fragile creature is the cause of it all. Jay stared at her. You came to erase Earth, but really you came for me. She nodded. Of course. You are the corruption, a random, soft, flawed being that turned my greatest weapon into a rebel, Ziraya said. He didn't corrupt me. He showed me a choice. The Queen's eyes flashed. Then choose now. Return to me, or I break your bond and shatter his mind. Ziraya turned to Jay, and time stopped. They were alone again, in a floating field of light. No Queen, no war. Just them. Jay's voice shook. She's too strong. Ziraya looked at him. Then I need to be stronger. Jay said, she said. She break the bond. Ziraya nodded. That's the only way to win. What happens if she does? Ziraya didn't answer. Jay's eyes widened. Ziraya, what happens to you? She looked down. If the link breaks, I go with it. Jay grabbed her hand. No, we'll find another way. There isn't one. He shook his head. You survived being a weapon. You survived exile. You're more than her. You're more than this. She touched his face. And because of you. I know that now. Suddenly the Queen reappeared, but this time, she was afraid. Ziraya stepped forward, her hand glowing white. I choose, she said. And with a whisper, she said the word that had haunted her for years. No. Then she touched her own heart and shattered the mind link. A scream echoed through the stars. Jay was thrown backward, weightless, watching in horror. Ziraya stood still, her body turning to light, like dust caught in the wind. She looked at him one last time and smiled. Now, I am free. Then she was gone. Back to Earth. Jay woke up on the hospital rooftop, gasping. The sky was clear, the world breaker gone. All systems back, birds in the air, people moving, life. Ziraya. Nowhere. Weeks passed. Jay returned to the forest, built a small monument where she had first fallen, a stone with no name, just one symbol. But he didn't cry, because he could still feel her, not in his mind, but in everything. The way fire moved, the way wind shifted, the way choice echoed. One morning, he woke up with a glowing line across his palm, not painful, just warm. And far above Earth, in the shadows, between stars, a light pulsed once. As if something or someone was not entirely gone.